Hello, it's me. You are about to listen to a two-part episode on why you should join me inside the Art of Speaking Up Academy. And before I dive into the episode, I want to share with you the enrollment dates for the Academy so that you can be ready to sign up when doors open. The Art of Speaking Up Academy has an early enrollment and a regular enrollment. Early enrollment is from November 1st through 4th. This is where you will get the best discount, the best price on tuition, and you will get a chance to join the Academy before I open doors widely to the public, but you have to be on the wait list to get an invitation to participate in early enrollment. So you can join the wait list by going to jessguzikcoaching.com/academy. And regular enrollment for the Art of Speaking Up Academy will happen from November 5th through November 18th. And the sign up for that will be on my website, also at jessguzikcoaching.com/academy. If you want to participate in early enrollment, which you totally should, make sure you're on the wait list. I will drop all of this information in the show notes below. And now let's get to the episode so that you can tune in and hear what I have to say. Catch you there. The purpose of the Art of Speaking Up Academy is really two things. One is to help you grow your confidence and feel more like a leader in meetings. And two, to help you learn and master the complete skill set of executive communication. Our choice of whether or not to say yes to the program will very often either mirror the patterns that are keeping us stuck or break the patterns that are keeping us stuck. Welcome to the Art of Speaking Up, a podcast that helps professional women access the limitless potential that lies within them. I'm your host, Jessica Guzik, and my mission is to help you find that spark inside you that has the power to transform your career in ways you may not have thought possible. I'm so excited that you're here. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you can probably sense, I am feeling very excited to record this episode. If you've seen the title, you know why. It's because I'm going to be talking about my program, the Art of Speaking Up Academy. I love this program so much. I consider this program my body of work. I have poured all of the pieces of my knowledge, all of the skills and learnings and wisdom that I've accumulated through all these different areas of my life and career over the years. Those all come together to form the curriculum of this program. And that is why I think it's so special, because I have such a unique set of experiences, which I will be talking about in today's episode. And the purpose of today's episode is to really walk you through why this program is so powerful and why I believe it is such a wise decision to put yourself in the room and to join the Art of Speaking Up Academy. Now, of course, I am biased. It is my program. I love it. So I come in with a very strong perspective on it. And it really is just a question of whether your perspective and your needs and your next step in your career aligns with the work that I do. And if it does, I would love to invite you into this program, and I would love for you to join us, because the potential for what this program can do for you career-wise is enormous. And I wouldn't want you to miss out on that potential because of fears or concerns or hesitations that aren't maybe as big as they might seem, right? So in other words, if this is a program that is going to lead to long-term shifts in your career, I wouldn't want you to miss out on that experience, which is why I want to walk you through some of the value and the pieces that you'll get from joining the Art of Speaking Up Academy, so you can take a moment to assess and think about whether this is a program, whether this is a room that you want to put yourself in. Now, you're probably a little bit familiar with the Academy, but if you don't know much about it, it is my signature group program. It is a 6-month program I purposefully like to do longer programs because I find that my clients come to me wanting to experience a deeper change. They don't just want surface level skills. They want to shift into deeper confidence and deeper leadership. And that simply takes time, which is why all of my coaching work is on the longer side. So it is a 6-month program. And the purpose of the Art of Speaking Up Academy is really two things. One is to help you grow your confidence and feel more like a leader in meetings. And two, to help you learn and master the complete skill set of executive communication, right? Executive communication is a skill. There is a skill to speaking effectively. There is a skill to being assertive in a way that's effective. There is a skill to speaking in a way that positions yourself as an authoritative, credible leader in the room. And the second goal of the academy is to master all of those skills. I believe that the confidence plus the skills together is the magic combination, right? You really want to have both because the skills are what make your communication stand out. They're what has you really standing out from others around you. Because not many people are able to communicate with a very high level of sophistication. So that's really what I'm guiding you towards. But you also need the confidence so that you can take up space in those rooms, so that you can unlearn and get out of patterns of shrinking away and hiding. And I know those patterns might feel really difficult, really ingrained. You might be afraid that you're going to be stuck in them forever. But what I know to be true as a coach, and as a coach whose work is rooted in human psychology, is that we can change and grow not just our skills, but our internal confidence, our internal capacity to navigate difficult situations with intention, with strength, with leadership, with badassery. That is something that we can cultivate. That is not a static thing that we're either confident or we're not. That is something we can nurture and grow. Now, of course, it takes time. It takes time to build those layers of confidence, to unlearn some of those old patterns, to build comfort in taking up space and speaking and finding your voice. It is not necessarily quick. It is not necessarily easy, but it is absolutely 100% learnable, no matter your starting point, no matter where you're at. There is no such thing as someone who can't grow their confidence. There is no such thing as someone who is destined to stay stuck and stagnant where they are. And what I want to walk you through today are 10 reasons why I think you should join the Art of Speaking Up Academy. Like I said, I'm biased. It's my program. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. But there's so much about it that you might not know about and that is hard to know about until you do it. And so I want to make sure that you're aware of those things as you're thinking about your decision to join, because I've seen so many women go through this program and I've seen what's happened for them professionally. And when I imagine, what if they had said no to this program and they hadn't experienced that, their entire career could have looked different, or they could have wasted another 1, 2, 3 years, still trying to figure some of these things out. Can you imagine wasting years, right? And so I want to make sure you have the perspective about what is possible for you, because you might need a dose of courage to say yes to this, right? Joining programs is scary. It takes boldness. It really takes a bit of audacity. And I deeply understand that as someone myself who has joined many programs and said yes to so many things that scared me. I know that there's this moment where you're deciding, and it's this moment of can I do this? Can I trust myself? Can I have the thing I want? Can I spend the money? Can I indulge? Can I say yes? And it's in that moment, sometimes you need that extra jolt of courage, that extra belief, that permission to just be yes, I can. So that's what I'm hoping to give you in this episode. I'm going to be walking you through 10 reasons why I think you should join the academy. And this may or may not fit into one episode. So we'll see if this becomes a 2-parter. You'll know once you see it on the podcast feed. But let's dive in. I will start with reason number 1, obviously stating the obvious, but this is the reason that I believe is the most important. This is the fuel and the fire in my belly that really drives me in my coaching work and in the podcast and in everything I do, which is that communication is the most leveraged skill that you can build. What I mean by this is in your job, there are a whole host of different skills that you build, right? You build skills learning how to execute the day-to-day of your jobs. Like if you're a marketer or an engineer, like you know how to actually do that, right? You have softer skills like how to collaborate and partner with other teams. And one of the buckets, the various buckets of skills that you have are your communication skills. I believe out of all of the different skills that you could invest in and focus on, I believe that communication is one of the skills that by far gives you the highest ROI and the best results in terms of translating to concrete outcomes in your career. The reason for this is that when it comes to the very execution focused skills, like the core of your job, the marketing, the engineering, whatever it is you do, most people are going to have a baseline capability in that area. Most people are going to step into those entry-level, mid-level management roles in those areas with a general understanding of how to market, how to be a good engineer. It's difficult to distinguish yourself on execution. But communication, when you get really good at communication, that is when you not only stand out because not everyone is able to distinguish themselves in the same way when it comes to communication skills, but it also grows the effectiveness of your execution, right? So communication makes you better at the thing you've been asked to do. And communication also helps people view you and envision you as a leader. That's why it is such a valuable skill to invest in, because as it gets better, it translates into professional advancement. So you could get really, really good at marketing. You could get really, really good at engineering. You could get really, really good at the core of your job. That's actually not going to propel you forward as quickly as getting really, really good at communicating. I'm not saying that you want to be bad at your job, but what I am saying is that the marginal returns on the execution, they're diminishing. At some point, you know how to market, you know how to write the code, you know how to do the things. And at that point, it no longer makes sense to get better and better and better. You have your base of knowledge. Now you're shifting more into leadership. And as part of that, you need to have a really solid set of communication skills. So when you pour your energy into building the communication skills, instead of pouring your energy into getting better at the core of your job, putting in more hours, working the hardest, when you pour all that energy into how can I become a good communicator, that is when you start to see faster results in terms of getting put on higher visibility projects, in terms of getting promoted, in terms of executives wanting to involve you in their work. It is the communication piece that is going to distinguish you, because in order for them to understand the quality of what you do, the quality of your thinking, your skills, your leadership, you have to be able to communicate it with them. They can't sit next to you and watch you do the work, but they can sit in your meetings and watch you speak. And when they watch you speak, they make assumptions about how you do your work. And when the way that you speak is impressive, they can understand the impressiveness of the work itself, right? So getting good at communication has enormous power to drive you forward. And it's this one skill that if you get really strong in, it has such a big impact in terms of your professional trajectory and in terms of advancing. That's why I believe it's so important. And that's why I called this show The Art of Speaking Up. Is because until you find your voice, you put a limit on how much you can lead. And the thing is that sometimes that limit doesn't reflect your true capabilities. Like you are capable of leading. You just need your communication skill set and your confidence to catch up with that, so that the capabilities that you already have, the potential that you already have within you, can actually get shown to the people around you and can actually lead you into advancement, promotion, and leadership roles. That is why communication is so important. It is the signal to the people around you of the extent of what you can do, the complexity that you can handle. And it is what gives your boss, gives executives, gives leaders the trust and the faith they need to take a bet on you and to support you. So it is so incredibly important. That is why that is number one on the list. Number two on the list is closely related, right? So number one is that communication is one of the most leveraged skills you can invest in terms of how much it benefits your career. Number two is that communication is a feeder skill into leadership roles. Your career and what you do professionally is part execution, part communication, right? So as you're more junior in your career, execution matters more. You're there to do things, get outputs. As you move into leadership roles, You do less execution, and more of your career success and the success in your projects hinges on communication rather than execution. So execution skills can get you good results as an individual contributor. They can even get you good results in middle management. As you move beyond that into higher levels of leadership, you're leaning on your communication skills to get things done because you have a team to do the execution for you. So you're not necessarily boots on the ground anymore, but you're in those bigger rooms, those higher level conversations with executives, representing the work of your team, advocating for your ideas, helping people make decisions and make progress. That comes from communication. So it's the bridge that gets you out of those mid-level roles, which is why it is so important to have a very sharp communication toolkit. And I believe that it gets built over the long term. I don't think you should wait until you're in a high-level executive role to start building executive communication skills, because that is incredibly overwhelming to step into a role that is an up level and feel like you don't have the communication skills to back it up. It is much more doable, much more manageable to build those skills now in your current role, which is a role you can handle. You're showing up, you're doing the work, right? Like, even if it's hard, even if it's stressful, you can handle it. So while you're in a role that you can handle, build the skills, build the capacity that you're going to need for the bigger role so that you are preparing yourself and getting ready in advance versus like throwing yourself into the fire or swimming in the deep end. And the beautiful thing is that as you improve your communication skills in your current role, it will get you to that bigger role faster. But there is a very good chance that you will feel much more ready for it because you have been investing in your communication skills. This is something I see over and over with my clients, with the women inside the Art of Speaking Up Academy. They think that that next up level, that next big role is going to be very hard and very intimidating, and it almost feels impossible. And it is through cultivating their confidence and their executive communication skills that that role, that up level, that promotion, it stops feeling so big and scary. It starts to feel different as you change. As you change, your perspective on your ability to handle that role shifts, and it begins to feel more manageable. And communication skills are what is going to get you there. They're going to help you get into that role and know how to drive results, because as an executive and as a leader, you don't get results in the same way you get results as an individual contributor and kind of up to middle management. You get results through your ability to effectively communicate. That is why you need to be really good at executive communication. You need to understand assertiveness and have a very easily flexed assertiveness muscle, right? You need to understand how to be a thought leader in the room, because those are the things that you're going to need to make sure you can continue to be effective in bigger roles. So that is reason number 2. Reason number 3 is that your communication skills and your ability to powerfully speak up and contribute in meetings has a huge impact on your job satisfaction and how much impact you have in your role. A lot of the women inside the academy, one of the reasons they join is because they feel like they're missing opportunities to have an impact. Like, they care about the work that they do. They care about the results. They want to be contributing. And they almost feel like they're missing the chance to do that because they have things to share. They have contributions. They deeply want to be a part of the solutioning and the problem solving. And so they're experiencing like a dissatisfaction because they're not able to be in those rooms and have the impact that they desire, and that deep down inside, they know they're capable of making. So communication skills and growing your confidence helps you feel like you're adding value in those rooms, feel like you're a part of those conversations. And what I have seen is that this increases job satisfaction, because the more you're part of the conversations, the more your work feels like yours, right? It really feels like you have this command over it. You are driving it forward. You are part of it. You are making an impact. And when you are feeling that way, that's when you kind of have the experience of like time flies when you're having fun, right? It feels less like drudgery, because instead of being like, oh my God, that meeting is on my calendar, I'm so stressed. Am I going to speak? Am I going to be able to handle it? Instead of thinking about all that, you're thinking about the project and you're like, are we going to solve this? How are we going to do this? How can I help? And when you're thinking those kinds of thoughts versus like the worried, anticipatory anxiety thoughts, your job is way more enjoyable and way less draining, right? And it comes from knowing how to communicate in those rooms and having the courage to be a part of those conversations. So as your communication skill set grows, not only does it move you much more quickly into executive roles, but it helps you have more fun, more satisfaction, more enjoyment, less stress along the way. And I am a huge believer in quality of life. I don't think we should make big sacrifices to our quality of life in order to have the career that we want. And I believe that our careers should feel good. I believe that they should be enjoyable. I believe that they shouldn't be super draining. And one of the ways that happens is being able to enjoy situations and be deeply engaged in situations that previously might have caused you a lot of stress. So I see this as not just an impact thing and not just about like that satisfaction of like feeling like you're joining the conversation, but just as a quality of life thing where we have so many meetings on the calendars. When those meetings go from being sources of anxiety to just rooms that we're excited to participate in, your day feels so different. And that, I think, is such a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself, is to build more comfort and take the steps that you need to take for meetings to not feel so big, for the experience not to feel so unmanageable. And the Art of Speaking Up Academy will support you in growing that. So that is number 3. Number 4 is such a juicy one. This one is so juicy. Are you ready for it? This is something I've seen in myself. It's something that I see in so many women. But our choice to join a coaching program or not, like to join a program like the Art of Speaking Up Academy or any kind of program or situation where you're working on something that is important to you. Our choice of whether or not to say yes to the program will very often either mirror the patterns that are keeping us stuck or break the patterns that are keeping us stuck. What I mean by this is we bring us with ourselves everywhere we go. So if you're having troubles taking up space in meeting, if you're having troubles believing in yourself, if you're having troubles taking risks, if you're having troubles harnessing courage, then all of those challenges may very likely show up as you consider getting help, getting support, joining a program, getting coaching, right? So when we're engaging with a coaching program or an opportunity to change, all of our patterns, our fears, our hesitations, not believing in ourselves, all the things that we're trying to work on will follow us into the decision of whether or not to do the program. So all of the thoughts of like, I'm not good, I can't do it, I'm stuck, like I'm missing information, I can't change, all of that pessimistic swirl, it's like it's following us. And you're like looking at my website, deciding whether to join the program, and all of that swirling in your mind. And so often, not always, but very often, the decision to join the program either perpetuates the pattern that you are trying to get out of, or it breaks the pattern. And it is one of the first big ruptures in the pattern that you are trying to dissolve. So often, if you don't join a program because you don't believe in yourself, because you're scared of disappointing yourself, because you're scared of taking a risk, then your decision around that program almost becomes like another chapter in the book of the story that you don't like, right? The story that you're trying to shift, the story of not taking up space and not believing in yourself. But when you join the program, then you are writing a chapter in that book where the plot shifts, something happens, something changes, things are going in another direction, right? So it is very much like a fork in the road where one fork is like, I can continue to hide, I can continue to not believe in myself, I can continue to not take risks. And the other fork is I can actually quiet the negative chatter and for once support my belief in myself and support my decision to take up space, even if it feels really scary. And I believe that when we are thinking about getting help and support that we genuinely desire, that we genuinely need, that we genuinely know would help us, and we say no to it, I believe often it is some of those same fears that are showing up in meetings or whatever the thing is that you're working on that then show up in your decision around not joining the program. Now, of course, everyone's different, right? So it's not like every single person, the best result for them is to join this program. But if you are able to, you have the resources, you're in a career where improving your communication skills is going to benefit you professionally far greater than the time and money investment that you're putting in this program, and you're still saying no to it, then it's very interesting to explore with curiosity, with non-judgment, why that might be, and to ask yourself, is joining this program an opportunity to break a pattern? Is it an opportunity to get out of hiding and out of not believing in myself? And that is something that you got to go inward for the answer, and you will know if you give yourself space to explore that. I really believe that if you sit with this in honesty, it will be very, very clear to you. It is always that way to me when I'm thinking about something. And so often when I say no to something that I want, it's because of fear. It's because I haven't gotten to that point where I believe I can do it. So I'm too scared to say yes. I'm too scared to indulge. I'm too scared to jump in because I don't want to disappoint myself. And so that's why through my own growth process, I've cultivated a very courageous ability to say yes to things. And I have never found myself in a situation where the fears actually came true and where I was like, yup, like that was a bad decision. I shouldn't have done that, right? Every single time for me, it's been, I'm so glad that I made the bet. So that's number 3, that joining a program like this will can either perpetuate or break some of the patterns that you are seeking to break. In this case, it is the pattern of whether or not you believe in yourself and whether or not you choose to step forward and take the risks that are the ones that you need to take in order to build the confidence and get the outcomes you desire. Okay. Reason number 5 to join the Art of Speaking Up Academy is that this program is highly, highly unique. I have a very unusual skill set in a very good way, and I cultivated my own confidence, my own communication skills, my own voice through a very diverse set of experiences combined together. And those experiences are all what informs the curriculum of the Art of Speaking Up Academy. So I don't think you can find what I specifically offer you in this program in any other program. The pillars of where my own confidence and growth have come from are a few different places. The first place is my career in management consulting, where I've been in rooms with executives. I've been in rooms with C-level executive CEOs. I have a deep, deep, deep understanding of what they need to see and exactly how you need to speak in order to make an impact in a room of that level of sophistication. And even if you're not in rooms with C-level execs, first of all, one day you probably will be. And second of all, you still want to communicate with that level of sophistication because ultimately it is that level of sophistication that is going to have you standing out and getting to positions where you are in rooms with those C-level executives, right? So I have a deep understanding from my career at McKinsey, from my career doing corporate strategy at major companies in rooms with executives of exactly what they want to see. But I bring so much more than that, right? In addition to that, I have experience studying theater, performing in theaters in front of a live audience, and over 200 episodes of my podcast. So I bring a performance lens to this, a lens of self-expression. I have an understanding of how to come out of your shell and how to access authentic, empowering, very good feeling self-expression, because it's something that I've been cultivating in more of a creative way outside of like my corporate career, right? So I have the piece on like, I know how to do the fancy speak for executives and how to come off super powerful and impress them. But I also have an understanding of the deeper piece of how to connect with yourself and find that voice and speak from a part of you that just feels like you, that feels natural, feels organic, feels authentic, feels easy. That's something that you have to learn. Like that's not something that we are taught to do. And that is something that I've come to understand very intimately through my experiences in theater and really cultivating the performer inside of me, getting comfortable doing this show, getting comfortable on camera, getting comfortable performing improv in front of live audiences. I bring that into this program. Not that you have to be a performer, right? And that's not the goal, but I do want you to have the confidence of a performer, that sort of playfulness, that feeling of like, I got this, I'm badass, I'm going to show up, I want to take up the space, this feels good. Like, I want you to have that feeling when you speak, because that is such incredibly powerful fuel for taking up space and getting noticed in meetings. So there's the executive communication piece, there's the theater piece. The other piece that I bring to my work that is highly unique and very surprising to many of my clients is my knowledge of human psychology and my knowledge of depth coaching. So in the world of coaching and in the world of psychology, there are coaches who focus on very surface level change and very surface level work with their clients. And then there's something called depth coaches. Depth coaches like to go deeper. Because often what happens is when you just focus on surface level change, I work with a client, they learn some new skills, they learn some new habits, but then they finish the coaching relationship, they go off out into their life, and a year or two later, like all of the changes that they learned are undone because we didn't go deep enough to create meaningful change. This is why I have spent the last year and a half under supervision with a clinical psychotherapist to ensure that I bring a level of depth to my work that supports my clients in experiencing deeper change. What this means is that, one, my space is designed to help you feel as comfortable as possible because I know how important that is for your process. And number two, we are not just going to be looking at very surface level things, because that would have a similar impact as you just continuing to listen to the podcast. But we are going to explore one level deeper to help understand the internal workings that you experience that might be getting in the way of growing your confidence. Now, if this sounds a little bit scary, it is a little bit scary. It can feel intimidating for sure. But what I've seen inside the Art of Speaking Up Academy is that for so many of the women, it feels so like relieving and nourishing to just be able to talk about and address some of the internal struggles without judgment, right? Being met with support, being met with so much love. And that is where a lot of the confidence gets built, is being able to go one level deeper than the very surface level skills and tactics. And that is something that I'm increasingly bringing more of into my program. Because with every round that I run, I see that that is where some of the deepest impact is being had. And I think it is so beautiful that I get to bring together these elements. I know the executive communication skills. I know what you need to learn to impress executives, but I don't want to stop there. I want you to experience some of that internal transformation so that when you're sharing that elegant, sophisticated, impressive content, you feel elegant and sophisticated and impressive inside. Like, that's what I want for you. Like, in the end of the day, the reason that I do this work is because I want you to feel amazing. I believe as women, we deserve to feel so powerful, so proud of ourselves, so strong. And I think that we live in a culture, especially corporate culture, that really places barriers between us and that feeling. And that is ultimately, I think, the emotional fuel for me behind my work, is to help women connect with that feeling, because it feels damn good to have that level of trust with yourself, that level of belief in yourself, like that confidence. It feels amazing. I can tell you from my own journey of really questioning myself, hiding, being so afraid to take up space, being so self-conscious, being such a perfectionist, to where I am now, where I have so much like love and adoration for myself. I'm so playful. I'm so fun. I'm so much more confident than I used to be. It has opened up so many doors for me professionally and career-wise that never would have been opened if I hadn't gone on my own journey. And I really want to offer that to my clients. And that's also why this is a longer program, why the Art of Speaking Up Academy is a 6-month program, because we need enough time and space to do the deeper work and to make sure we cover the skills that you need to learn in order to be very effective in meetings. Because the internal piece and the skills work together to help you be a super powerful, impactful communicator and leader and move your career forward. Okay, those are reasons 1 through 5. We are now over 30 minutes, so I'm going to record a part 2. for reasons 6 through 10 to join the Art of Speaking Up Academy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in part 2. And of course, if you want to join the Art of Speaking Up Academy, head over to jessguzikcoaching.com/academy. That is where you will find all of the information. You will also be able to see the curriculum, so you can dive much deeper into everything that I cover inside the program. I think that'll give you a really good sense of whether it fits with what you need. It probably does, because I've been doing this a while and I've worked with a lot of women. And so the curriculum comes from all of the knowledge I've accumulated in supporting my clients. But take a look and you will find the link in the show notes. It is jessguzikcoaching.com/academy, and I will catch you in part 2. Bye.